Hey everyone, welcome in to another daily editorial here on the KE Report. I'm getting an update from Sitka Gold following up on a news release from today, October 31st, announcing surface samples from the newly acquired Pukelman Intrusive Target, all at the RC Gold project. Now, this is a project where the company has wrapped up its drill program for this year, still waiting on some drill results. And so far, the stock has been running quite nicely on the drill results that have already been released. But now there are some of these new targets for us to talk about. I am chatting with Mike Burke, Director and Vice President of Corporate Development. Sitka Gold is traded SIG on the TSX Venture Exchange, SITKF on the OTCQB, and on the Frankfurt Exchange, 1RF. Now, Mike, let's talk about this Pukelman Intrusive Target. Again, this is part of that new land package that you acquired that really added on and filled in that RC Gold project in the Yukon. Let's just start off with, why did you target here? What drew you to this area when it sounds like you have a lot of other targets you can also go after?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Corey. Yeah, we acquired this ground on June 24th, and it fills in the southern part of the Clear Creek Intrusive Complex. So if you look back at that press release, we outlined, four main target areas. The Rhosgobel intrusion that we announced visual drill results on earlier, just a little while ago. And now we've put a couple holes into the Pukelman stock. But we also mentioned, there's historical drilling on both the Bear Paw breccia and the contact zone. So the Pukelman stock, it's a little bit north of the contact zone. The contact zone is just off the southern margin of the Pukelman stock. But this Pukelman stock, there was a couple holes from 1992 within the intrusion. The contact zone is just outside of the intrusion in the metasedimentary rocks. So this hasn't been followed up since 1992. So what we wanted to do was look at what we felt were the most underexplored areas of this new ground. Like I said, the Bear Paw and the contact zone have some pretty nice historical drilling. We definitely have drill plans for those areas, but given our timing with just the ability to do a couple holes on a couple of the targets, we felt that both the Rhosgobel and the Pukelman were underexplored with some really great potential for making a new discovery. So that's why we jumped into those areas. And we're obviously pleased with the results. We announced the visible gold earlier in the Rhosgobel. And in this drilling in the Pukelman stock, we've noted some visible gold as well in both of our drill holes. So we expect to, get some good results back on that.
So I'll post figure one from this news release in the show notes. It shows the overall RC Gold project, all these different areas, and the Pukelman area kind of right in the middle, just on the right-hand side of this map, just south of that Blackjack deposit, the Eiger deposit. Are you expecting, Mike, and I realize it's early work here, but are you expecting similar mineralization to that Blackjack and Eiger deposit?
Well, it is similar. We see, the sheeted veining with low sulfide and a speck of visible gold. Will it be the same tenor? Well, we have to wait for assays. But you got to remember, these are all big targets. So we've got a lot of drilling left to do on it. We're happy with those initial drill holes. We wanted to test it a little deeper down than the previous historical drilling. So, we're happy with what we're seeing in the core, and we expect to get some good results. We've also done other surface work there. In this press release, we talk about the soil geochem. When we acquired this ground, there was gaps in the soil geochemistry, so that breached the former property boundary between these areas. So we're able to fill in those gaps, and we see additional kind of geochemical trends that will help us focus and direct our drilling as we get the results back from these drill holes, but also taking into account the other work we've done.
So as you've mentioned, you drilled two holes here. We don't have those results, but you did see some visible gold. What should we know about these two holes that you drilled? Give us more detail on those, please.
I think seeing, the abundance of sheeted veins, our surface exploration on the Pukelman, It's really intensely veined. So we see a lot of quartz veining with pyrite and arsenopyrite in there. Little visible gold at surface that we found in some of the sampling as well. So it's intensely veined up, and to get some drill holes into the more in the intrusive hosted part of it. There's been exploration work on the periphery of this Pukelman intrusion, but not since 1992 has anybody put a drill hole into the more central part of it. So this is just our first step in evaluating some of the surface mapping that shows where the intensity of that veining is. So we put a couple holes into there. There's other zones kind of at the northern margin of the intrusion that we'll look at testing in the future. And then, of course, the contact zone is where it's received a little more historical drilling. That's just off the southern boundary of the Pukelman. So we've got plenty of plans to continue working on this target area, as well as the other areas that I mentioned that are on that ground that we acquired this year.
So, Mike, again, just looking at that figure one map, there looks to be a lot of targets here. There's been drilling at some of these other targets, historical drilling. How do you go about ranking all these targets then?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, we obviously were modeling these up, modeling up the old historical drilling, and then just designing drill programs on all of them, looking at new areas that are outside of those areas that have received the historical drilling too, because there's potential for, intrusions that don't necessarily come to surface. So we're looking at all the kind of geology. We're able to use the exploration that we've done to date on the northern part of the Clear Creek Intrusive Complex and start developing our drill planning for next year. Next year is going to be, a big year for us. We have just under $11 million in the bank right now. So we're well financed and we're very able to plan a pretty serious program for next year. We'll have drill plans for all these targets. So how we roll them out, we'll refine that further when we get the drill results back from Rhosgobel and Pukelman, and we've got a few more holes left on the Blackjack, that 4 more holes on that we've drilled that are in the assay lab. So 8 drill holes pending, 2 on Pukelman, 2 on Rhosgobel, 4 on Blackjack. So that'll help us in our planning for next year as well.
Okay, yeah, those are kind of the near-term catalysts. Give us the lay of the land then here, Mike, in terms of drill results coming, and then news flow-wise, what should we be expecting out of Sitka Gold as you work towards that next drill program when you can get back on site here?
Yeah, certainly news flow, labs are doing pretty good, but they're never as fast as anybody wants them, us included. We'd expect that we should get our drill results. We've just finished up drilling at the site, as we mentioned there. It's October 31st, so that's when we're planning on wrapping up, and we've done that. So I would hope we'd have most of our drill results in by Christmas. There is the possibility that might roll over into the new year. So there should be news flow coming out, between now and Christmas and maybe into the new year, but I wouldn't expect drill results to take much longer than that. Then we'll kind of compile our results. We've definitely focused on expansion of the Blackjack deposit. So we'll look at that. We haven't committed to doing a resource upgrade, but we're certainly considering that. Would be another news flow event, and then the plans for next year is what's going to kind of drive us. But we're, as I mentioned, about just under $11 million in the bank right now. So that's really allowing us to plan a pretty significant program for next year and be financed to be able to do it.
All right, Mike Burke, Director and Vice President of Corporate Development at Sitka Gold. Please, everyone, click that link in the show notes. Visit the company's website. Send me any questions you have for the team at Sitka, and I'll follow up with Mike to get those answered. Mike, thanks for your time today.
Thanks for your time, Corey.